I had to leave town for a little while. You said you'd be good while I'm gone. I remember my first love affair. Somehow or another, the whole darn thing went wrong. I said I'll hold. There's a long line of mornings I cry myself to sleep each night. That big eight-wheeler rolling down the track, and your true loving daddy ain't coming back. Moving on, he's a rolling on. I'll break it, burn it, drag it all around. It's knowing that your door is always open and your path is free to walk. But now after loving you, how many girls choose cotton dress world when they could have satins and lace? Any day now, I will hear you say in the ghetto, and his mama cried.
So, right, Steve, what have you been listening to?
You did say Elvis Presley Boulevard, didn't you?
No.
From Memphis, from Elvis Presley Boulevard, Memphis. That's the one we're doing, isn't it?
You've hurt me now.
Sorry. Okay, take two. Just winding you up.
Come on then. What have we spent hours listening to?
Well, we've been spending hours listening to probably many people's favorite Elvis album, which would be From Elvis in Memphis, from the '69 Memphis sessions. Obviously, we all have different tastes, and that there are other Elvis albums that I absolutely passionately love. But I think if really pushed, I would have to say this is my favorite Elvis album. And so we come up with an idea, didn't we, Adam?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, so we decided to take all our different versions of From Elvis in Memphis and give them a playoff. Now, I've stuck strictly to the record vinyl releases from 1969 right up till this year, 2025. And you've thrown in some CDs as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got 3 CDs that I thought I would sort of try and see how they sound differently. I've got the FTD, the classic album series. I've got a 1990 sort of BMG release, and I've got the 60 album CD set from the Elvis's albums, that box set. I just wanted to compare and see if actually there was any difference between CD and vinyl. But like you, Adam, I've got a selection of vinyls that I've chosen to, well, all of my vinyls that I've chosen to have a listen to. And I'm looking forward to finding out our results of the best sounding. So why do we do this, Adam? Why do we as fans want to collect several albums, several of the same album, just because it's a different pressing or a different country or whatever? Why do we do this?
I think, it's interesting, isn't it? You always think you've got your last copy of something and you don't need any more. But there's so many releases. I mean, so many countries from, going back to the original, it was released in the UK, the US, Japan, and a lot of European countries and everywhere. And then you've had so many different re-releases of the album. And like you say, when it's one of his greatest albums, and probably it is one of my favorites too, it's up there in that top sort of echelon. You just can't help it. You just need to discover more, don't you? Listen to more. But so we're gonna try and come up with more or less our top 5 versions.
Yeah.
And that might actually be a group of versions as well. There might not be one that just makes that top 5. And then try and get to what we consider is the best version to listen to.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what conclusions you've made or where you're going to end up, and you've no idea where I went.
Yeah.
I definitely couldn't go down the CD route, because we'd probably be here this time next year. I would have listened to so many different CDs I've got on this album. But
I think it's also very important to note that just because you may have an opinion of the greatest pressing, it doesn't mean to say that mine or anybody watching, because we all like to hear something slightly different. My ears are different from yours. I like a certain style in music. I like maybe a bit more high end. Some people might like a bit more bass. And so these aren't necessarily the answers. It's just a bit of fun. We are aware that this album was mixed a few times and mastered several times, and that's the slight differences that we're going to get. Is probably just a little bit of the different mixing or a different mastering, and that's what makes it so interesting. So do you want to kick us off then, Adam?
Yeah, there was just one thing I was going to add, and I think it's important. I mean, some people might think, well, what's the point of comparing different issues? Is there any big difference in them? I think a spoiler alert for me, with all the record releases, I wouldn't say there's a bad version in them. They all sound really good.
Yeah.
Mostly, of course, because it's one of Elvis's best vocals. You've got great musicians, and it's been recorded and mixed and mastered well from the beginning.
Yeah,
but
that's right.
Just to kind of very quickly discuss what could influence a record and how they're made. So if we go back to the very beginning, and we'll not go into complicated multi-track recordings, but you got Elvis and the band in the stereo in the studio, and they're mic'd up, and everything gets recorded onto magnetic tape. So this tape will then, once it's had its final mix, and overdubs and everything, you'll end up with a master tape of the album. Now, the first thing that can influence this is, we don't have any written details on this, but we have to use sort of educated knowledge of the process. So this tape will get copied.
Yeah.
Now, you'd presume they'd make a backup copy, first of all. From the backup copy, you would probably then make multiple copies to ship around the world.
That's right. Yeah.
So that copy could go to Hollywood in the US record plant. It could go to Japan. It's going to go to the UK, France, wherever. You've then got to rely on a mastering engineer to cut that tape to a lacquer. Now, that process alone could dictate subtle changes in how each record's going to sound.
That's right.
What we do know is mastering engineers can make a difference. They can make a record sound brighter, louder, and you're relying on that engineer transferring it.
Yeah.
Also, some albums are transferred on the fly, where they'll tweak different things. On one track, they'll bring the highs up or the bass or whatever. So there's a lot of influences in that process. You then got the lacquer, and you've got to make the stampers out of that. And that's a whole process of making a side A and a side B, and then you put the vinyl in the middle, heat it up, squash it down, and you get your record. I think the quality of the vinyl can influence how a record plays and sounds as well. So I think it's just, there's a lot of influence in the whole process that could make a UK release and a US release slightly unique.
Yeah.
In their sound. And I thought, for people who don't know how it works, it's probably a good introduction into why we're testing these releases and actually seeing what we actually think to them. So
I think what he's also saying about when the master tape, there is absolutely certainty they would not use the master tape to do their to send off to other countries, of course not. So there will be a copy made of the master tape, and that copy would be what's used to send to whatever. But each time you're making a copy in analog days, no longer digital, we're not talking about digital, but back then, every time you made a copy, you would lose one generation of that sound. So what we also don't know is further down the line, like in the later 70s, before CDs come along, we might be getting copies of copies of copies, which would be probably noticeable to our ears if compared to like the very first pressing that we got in '69. Now it's digital. There's no loss in at all in sound. It's exactly the same. But back then, there's a copy of a copy. You would notice a slight. It's called. It's just rolled off the top of my tongue now. But yeah, you just lose. You'd lose quality each time a copy was made.
Yeah.
Generation.
Yeah, no.
First generation, second generation, third generation. That's what they call it.
No doubt, and obviously as these tapes age, it's going to get more difficult to regenerate the same sound from them. There's going to be some loss. I think it's also important that it's a totally different ball game that you mentioned when you hit on digital. All the digital recordings, I mean, quite a bit of time's gone into remixing and mastering the sound. So you're definitely going to get a different presentation on a digital record than one that's been made from analog tape.
Yeah.
That's got to happen. And, and sometimes the mix, just because it's digital, doesn't mean it's going to be bad.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah.
There's some pretty fine mastering goes on these days, and digital has improved. So I would definitely say you're more likely to get a better sounding record of a modern digital record than you might have done at the early days of digital.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's all these things that then make it interesting when you listen to the different releases.
That's so interesting what you just said. That's gonna, yeah. We'll wait. I'll wait. I'm not going to say anything now, but
I've got so many notes on these. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to keep up with myself and what I've written and understand what I was thinking at the time. So, shall we start? Shall we start with coming in at number 5 or a group of number 5? Where would you take us, Steve?
okay. So I think if I just very, very quickly run through the pressings I have, I won't show you, but just trust me, they're in that lineup there. I have music on vinyl, Speaker's Corner, the original US pressing, 1970s UK pressing, 1970, and a 1976 UK pressing. I have the big box set of the original masters from MoFi, Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab, and the one step. And then I have the FTD CD. I have a 1990 BMG, and then I've got the 60 CD set box set thing. And from that, I started to listen. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I can remove a whole bunch of these straight away to get to my top 5, because my top 5 was pretty much consistent, really. This goes to what you was just mentioning, Adam, about some of the early digital pressings. This, in my opinion, was pants. It's the only one out of this entire lot that I thought, I don't need to listen to this again. It lacked so much detail and so much soul. I stopped using it in my list because it just wasn't there. It wasn't cutting it. And that surprised me, because that was a DVD. I mean a CD.
Yeah.
Then the 2 CDs that were remaining, the FTD was identical to the 60s, which was the Vic Valenci mastering, remix and mastering. So it seemed pointless for me to play this and compare it when all they have done, FTD, have used the same mastering mix from the Vic Valenci from the 60 CD set. So there's 2 that's gone. I don't need to play them anymore.
You just remind me what year the FTD was released.
I don't know if I've actually got it. 2013.
Right.
This was 2011, I believe.
Yeah. So it makes sense for them to have used that master.
Yeah. And then the 2 UK versions, the 1970s and the 1976, were also identical. I could not hear any difference between the 2, and they just weren't quite. They were excellent. They were amazing. You listen to it and you love it, but there was just lacking in what I would call the real guts of it. So those 2 also went out, which left a five race between the original 69 US music on vinyl, the Bloody Mary, and Speaker's Corner, and the MoFi. I then realized, I don't know if you noticed the same, Adam, but the MOV and the Bloody Mary was also identical. I could not hear any difference between the 2 pressings whatsoever, which might explain what you were saying to me in a previous conversation, that Music on Vinyl actually purchased a Sony pressing plant, and it's possible that Sony used the MOV stampers to make this the Bloody Mary version, because I could not tell any difference between the 2 pressings.
It's very likely, and also if you look at the covers of the Sony and the Music on Vinyl, they're both dated 2011 on the back cover.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would tend to agree that it's obviously they are the same master,
Yeah.
and they're probably based on the 2007 remastering that you mentioned with the 60 collection.
Yeah.
You know, I think you're more or less probably getting the best of the digital world there.
Mhm.
And I totally agree with you on all the CDs, because even though I didn't do CDs this time, I have done it in the past. I remember doing it for the Facebook page. And I would totally agree with everything you said.
Cool.
So where does that lead you into your top 5 then with number 5? Where would you go?
This was a surprise. My top 5, coming in at number 5, was music on vinyl. Speaker's Corner.
This corner.
When I bought this, had high hopes for this, but I must admit it came a little bit short compared to the top 4, and that is mostly because it's a very warm, in my opinion, a warm mix. And being warm, you're losing some of the detail, some of the cymbals, high end, some drum clicks, some nice guitar riffs. Just slightly, you're losing the edge of, because it's such a warm pressing, a warm sound. Now, if I can give you an example that you could try out, and you would go, "Oh, I see what you mean." If you have the Christmas album of Speaker's Corner, if you listen to, is it Santa Bring Your Baby Back to Me? No, Here Comes Santa Claus. There's some finger clicks at the beginning.
Yeah.
If you listen to the Speakers on Corner pressing and compare it to any other pressing, especially like a CD, the clicks are so much more clearer and crisper than on Speaker's Corner. So that obviously they like to warm up, but by warming it up, I think it dulls the sound a bit, just a fraction, but enough for me to notice. On Gentle on My Mind, I was quite disappointed compared to the other 4 releases. That it didn't have the guts, it didn't have the clarity, it didn't have the air, and that's it. Don't get me wrong, though. I mean, it's beautiful. It's a great record, but when we're comparing, it just didn't match it.
I was smiling all the way through that, because I'm probably going to say a lot of the of similar things that you said. And here it is. Okay. So, like we said at the beginning, it's not that any of these are bad.
Yeah.
It's when you listen to them over and over, and different versions after another, I did find it quite clear what the differences were. And in at number 5, I've got 4 releases clumped together. And there was a reason for this, because my top 4 are so close and so good. These are the ones that had a clear difference for very subtle different reasons. And I'll hit Speaker's Corner first. I actually love what they do, Speaker's Corner. Really nice release. Nice heavy vinyl. They're using analog to produce their records. I've got other records by them, and I really do love them. But my notes on this, and let's see if some of these ring a bell with you. My first feeling was, this sounds slightly softer. You know, all the separation is good as the others, and it's a decent volume, and it's a nice. They do them on virgin vinyl, so you get quite a nice, quiet vinyl from it. The bass was firm, good detail, good control, but it took a lot of the attack and the drive away from what this record should be.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, From Elvis in Memphis is a soul record.
Mm.
There's plenty of country stuff and things on here, but it's a proper gut-wrenching soul record of a vocal from Elvis, you know, and that's how I want to hear it. So, and I think this is a common theme with the audiophile releases. They try to smooth everything out. They try to reduce the reverb. They try to create this. And I think with any audiophiles, it doesn't mean you're going to get something amazing. It means you're going to get something with subtle changes.
Mm.
And the changes, to me, take away the soul of the record.
Yeah.
As good as it is, it's fine. And then we'll stick with the audiophile. I found the same with the original Mo-Fi release from 1981, I think it was. And these were actually pressed in Japan on their quality vinyl. In fact, out of all the records in this test, this is the thinnest record.
Mm.
It's you know, everything else is pretty solid, or you know. So what did I say about this Mo-Fi? Okay, so on this one, I got lower volume, thin Japanese pressing vinyl, the mid lowered, maybe better separation, less reverb, going for a tighter sound, less punch and drive. So it just tamed the record down. And for me, I want this to kick me in the butt. I'm obviously not an audiophile. I want to feel the music, you know. And then in my bottom five, or not in my top, I went for the music on vinyl and the new Bloody Mary Legacy release. Totally different concept here. These are both digital releases. I feel like what you were saying about the 2007 remix masters, they're very good, they're clean. Good sounding record. If you bought these, you wouldn't be disappointed. You'd really enjoy it.
Yeah.
But again, they just didn't match the original analog recordings that we got in 1969. That's my group number 5.
Okay. So they're all number 5, are they?
They just, they've got to sit in that equal position. They all sound, you know, probably the Sony Legacy is getting closer to an audiophile mix, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I've had to group them together. They're not bad. They're just all equal.
Right. So that leads me, I guess, to my number 4.
Yeah.
Now, I was a bit surprised that the original US, the first pressing, came in at number 4. Again, this is my ears, and my ears will be different from everybody else's ears. But to test these, I chose 3 songs. I had first "Gentle in My Mind." That's because it's my favorite song. And I put this on and I was blown away. And this is an excellent pressing. This is mint almost. There's no cracks, there's no crackles or pops. And I put this on and I was like, this is incredible. Gentle on my mind, this pressing is the best pressing there is, the best sound of that's for that song. And this I realized for the next song that we chose, which was Wearing That Loved On Look, this didn't sound as good. And that's because the song Gentle on My Mind is really geared up for a lot of high end. There is that constant drum, that beautiful drum going through, that guitar, harmonica. It was crisp and sweet. It was just beautiful, airy. But when you played the Wearing That Loved On Look, it was almost too tinny for my ears. So I started to realize that this particular original pressing was probably a little bit too geared up towards the treble, and I felt it needed a bit more bass to come through. So it kind of, although it looked like it was going to be a clear winner on my first run, when I started to get to other songs and comparing it to other pressings, I noticed it started to go down, in my opinion. And I was surprised because I thought this would be a clear winner. I thought this was going to be number one. So don't get me wrong, outstanding, absolutely beautiful. I do prefer the higher end than bass. I much prefer to hear the air, the crispiness of a record, but it became too much. But that could have been my sound system. So there's my number 4.
And I think in this company, even a number 4 is good. It's still a high quality record, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And a great listen. So let's get this one out of the way. My number 4. And this might surprise some people. But my number 4 is the, was it 23?
Yeah.
MoFi, One Step, Ultra, HD, 45 RPM version.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I mean, rightly, a lot of people love this set, you know. And what we don't want is audiophile companies stop doing Elvis records. We'd like to hear some different ones and some more. They're a numbered box set, number 606. So why is it 4 and not number 1? Well, I definitely found it was a louder cut than, say, the digital Bloody Mary Sony Legacy. But what I found was that stopped it being in the top 3, I guess, was some tracks were ultra louder than other tracks. I didn't find it as consistent across the album with the volume levels of the presentation. I did really like the nice transparent black vinyl they've put it on. And the vinyl did sound nice and clean and quiet. You know, great sound, separation. It's got all the attack and everything the album should have. Probably a little bit more control over the reverb and probably a slightly better bass in places. But I did find it a little more inconsistent in its presentation across the whole record. There's definitely a higher drum sound in there. But then I think that the thing with this most is, and why I could never put it as my top listen, is having it spread over on 45 RPM over 4 sides. So you're only really listening to 2 or 3 tracks at a time.
Yeah.
Makes it a much harder listen. Is it something I'm going to put on and listen to regular? No, it's going to be like a special occasion. I'm going to get out the box, enjoy it, give it a play, and then put it back. So if I was recommending to anyone, you know, what are the best 3 versions to get for a play, that just dropped it below the top 3 for me.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair point. I see where you're coming from. That is, I actually didn't put that into my listing of why it's where it's listed, because it was all about the sound. But you make a very good point. It's not an easy listen, because you're getting up, you're sitting back down again, you're getting up, you're sitting back down again, and that's the nature of the 45 RPM LPs. You normally get in 3 tracks, maybe 4 on a side. So your listening pleasure, although sounding could be amazing, you have to work, don't you? It's getting up, getting down, and hurts your knees after a while, I guess.
You do, and it's not that so much. It just spoils the listening pleasure of the album, as it was. Like, sitting back and then enjoying the blend from one track to another. You lost that feeling of it, and it's. I'd love Mo-Fi to do a 33 version of that, because it's probably not going to degrade the sound that much, if at all. And then it'd be a brilliant complete listening experience.
Yeah.
But it's still, I still don't think it might have come in a joint 3rd at best. You know, okay. It still wasn't my top 3.
Okay, so now into top 3 for me, and I am going to say joint venture, the Bloody Mary and the Music on Vinyl. I don't know if the colour of the vinyl makes any difference to yours, Adam. I doubt it. Just so people, if they've not seen it, this is the Bloody Mary version. And this is the Sony, the MOV, which is a really nice yellow. That they've chosen not to re-release this with the bunch that they've got out at the moment. But for me, and again, this is just purely my ears, I find that the sound is consistent throughout the whole lot, and that'll probably be because, as you say, we've taken it from the digital pressing, the digital masters. It is, to me, just sounds so lovely. It's loud, it's in your face. There is really good separation, the really good clear bass, really good clear high end. The drums nice and crisp. For me, they're just beautiful experiences to listen to. The vocals were clear. Just everything to me seemed just lovely and a pleasure to listen to. So maybe, there'd be good reasons why maybe you've got yours on number 5 and mine's number 3. Maybe your equipment. In fact, I probably know, Adam, your equipment is a lot high end compared to mine. I'm using a project turntable. I have a Cambridge amp and QI 350 speakers. Mid-range stuff, but to my ears, I just found the edge on those MOV releases, and I'm really happy with them.
Yeah, they are very good. You know, I've no complaints over the. It was funny actually, because you've got the yellow vinyl, Music on Vinyl, and mine was still on the black. But I agree. Yeah, the Bloody Mary and the Music on Vinyl, they just sound like the same record.
Yeah.
I was quite surprised that the coloured vinyl didn't seem to take anything away. I think they're great modern versions. I think, unless Mo-Fi did a 33, they probably are the best digital versions of it. Like say about the equipment, I use this listening room for all my tests. Now, I could see why with your system you might notice the highs a little bit. So if the record sounds a little bit brighter, it'd probably come out more on your system.
Mm.
And the only reason I know that is that I built this system to be very mid-rangey and not bright. But I've put that together using old and new equipment that I've tested over the last 35 years or stuff. Some of it's old speakers from the 90s that I just love the sound of. And they work with vocals. So equipment is going to have an influence over how everything sounds as well. The good thing is we've used the same volume levels and we've used the same equipment in the same room for all the tests. And we even used the same 3 tracks. And then I think we both chose an extra track to give them another listen. So this has been on and off all weekend. These albums. Yeah, but it's interesting they made your number 3. And, so where am I? Is it over to my 3?
Yeah.
Right, so number 3 was the original US copy. And if I can find my notes, which is SP4155, isn't it? The original. What can I say? I found at first I thought this was going to be my favorite copy of it. As soon as I put it on, it just sounded great. Good stereo image, punch and drive that the audiophile releases lost a little bit of. I just put notes, great guitar, bass, beat, strings. I could hear everything how I wanted it. When you get into the originals, there's a lot more power and reverb in the mix. And I think what the digital and the audiophile releases have done is try to drive that out into a cleaner sound. But punch and drive, the way this original sound, that's what touches my soul. And as soon as I put that on, it got me singing, feeling the beat, feeling the soul of the record. Elvis's vocal is louder on these releases than on the modern day takes. I didn't want to turn it off. Some of these releases, I just wanted to get back on to the next version of the original sound. So it didn't make the top, but it's number 3.
Yeah, and again, I know we've mentioned this, but the difference between my number 4 and my number 1 is so fractional. It's you have to work really hard to make a choice, and we had to make choices, but that US is an absolute belter. It sounds amazing, and I'm not unhappy with it whatsoever. So it's just so difficult, isn't it, when it comes down to personal taste? So where are we now? Number 2.
You're on 2, yeah.
I'm on 2. Okay, so this might become a bit of a shock. I don't know. Maybe it's predictable because of the way that I've been talking so far, but this came in as number 2. You could almost tell that music on vinyl used this master, because they sound incredibly similar, but there was just a fraction of an edge over the MOV, and I can't actually put a word to it. I just know that I liked listening to this a little bit more. The separation, that was just amazing. And of course, this particular set of CDs was Vic. I can never say his surname. Vic Alensi.
Anasini or
Anasini, that's it. Yeah, Vic
that's
something.
how I say it.
As far as I'm aware, Sony made a decision to go to the original master recordings and put everything digital, because there was that threat of quality, losing quality or tape damage and things like that. So they wanted everything started again, and it was Vic's job to put everything back to digital. So he would have gone straight back to the original masters, and I think probably that's why we're picking up on the quality of this. It sounded just so crisp, so clear, so nice. And I'm a fan of brightness. I like a bit of brightness, and this was full of brightness to me. So that's why I've chosen this as my number 2. It really was, yeah. The whole CD set have become my playlist, really. If I want to listen to an album, it's so much easier to stick these CDs on because they sound so good, and you don't have to get up at all halfway through. So it's been one of my best buys.
Yeah, and that's funny, isn't it? That the CD makes that change and not having to get up once.
Mm.
You can see what I was saying about the 45 getting up 4 times.
Absolutely, yeah.
It does make a difference.
Yeah.
And I can see why the digital CD stands up against the digital records, because you're probably getting the purest digital sound with the CD, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're probably going to get a bit more separation in the sound and everything. And luckily they've got some good mastering engineers on and remixing engineers on the Elvis catalogue now, haven't they? You know, Vic and Sebastian and a few others. We're getting top-notch releases. Yeah.
Of course, Matt Spang is a little bit more more controversial. Some people have got their opinions, but as you said, the Sebastian and Alensi, they are top class. Top class.
Yeah. Well, they're remastering the original sound, aren't they? I think with Matt, he's gone off on a whole different.
Yeah.
He's been asked to go off on a whole different tangent and reinvent things.
That's right.
We know which one we prefer. So where am I up to? Am I up to my number 2?
You're up to
2. Okay. So my number 2, I actually have 2 copies of this. and I did check them both just to make sure they were the same. But this is the original UK release. So this is SF8029 from 1969. I played when I did this test. I played the US version first because I thought that was going to be my favourite, and I thought I can compare everything else to that. Well, I played the UK release and it took it up a notch.
Wow, that's interesting.
Now, top 3, we are talking small margins here.
Yeah.
The top 3, you are talking about the best 3 versions of From Elvis in Memphis on record, I think, you can buy. This is my opinion, my ears, my system. Well, what I found was it sounded like the USA copy, but it sounded a little bit louder, believe it or not. I don't know. It just really let Elvis's vocal attack go loud, and I love when the vocals come in. They hit you, whether it was Elvis or whether it was the backing vocals, and it was like a real experience.
Mm.
That experience was there with the USA, and I just felt that this just slightly touched it, and that's why I played the other version. I thought I'll just check that it's the same, and it is. It just really strong strings on the tracks attested, and the reverb. I love the reverb in the mix. And my final note on it was, it's got soul.
Mm.
You know, it was hard to stop listening to a track and move on to the test one, because I just wanted to listen to the whole album every time I put it on.
That's really interesting, because I've got the 70 pressing, 1970, and for my ears that didn't feature. I wonder if there was too many generations lost, or it'd be interesting to hear a UK first pressing.
Yeah, and it could just be that. It could be where it was pressed, what, you know, I mean, were the stampers and things getting worn out?
Yeah.
They do. They need replacing.
Mm.
You know, they always keep a safety copy of the copy of the lacquer, because they make the lacquer, then they make a copy of the lacquer, and then they make the stampers.
Yeah, yeah.
And they'll only ever produce the stampers again off the copy of the lacquer, not go back to the lacquer, because the lacquer's already done its job and it's worn. It's, you know, you're not going to use it again, basically.
Mm.
And you don't want to go back to the master tape and remaster, because it's going to be different in some way or the other. There will be a slight. Can we hear it? Who knows?
Yeah. Okay, that's so interesting. That I now know what your number one is. I'm not gonna say anything, but by the process of elimination, I know what your number one is.
I haven't told anyone what's in my collection.
No. So that leaves me with my number one, I guess.
Yeah.
Ben, a drum roll.
Oh, wait.
Well, surprisingly, or maybe not, my number one is the MoFi. Maybe it is because you know what he's talking about, the stampers. Maybe I think they press 5 and then they change them or something with these. Or so there's something about it. There's a little leaflet in there, isn't there, about what they do. I won't get it all out now because it will fall apart. But for my ears, this was my number one. And only just, I'm not saying, as we've said time again, it wasn't massively improved in my ears, but enough for me to say this is for me, if someone said, what's the best sounding pressing you can get From Elvis in Memphis, I would say the MoFi. Now I have to put a caveat in, because there may be some subliminal, some subconscious bias going on. After a long time of collecting records, I moved over to, as most of us did in the 90s, moved to CDs and stopped buying vinyl, and decided to come back to vinyl probably about 3 years ago. In fact, maybe even 2 years ago. And that was the first vinyl that I purchased on my way back, on my sort of like second round onto vinyl. And it was from my mum's inheritance. It was my first sort of record I bought. I considered it from my mum. So it holds a very special place in my heart as being my first new round of record collecting. So that may be why I'm a little bit biased. But when I listen to it, I hear such clarity and depth, detail in everything. It's, to me, that is the ultimate of listening to. I can whack that volume up and I can just sink into my chair, or my beanbag, in fact, and just get lost to this pressing. Unfortunately, it's short-lived because every 3 songs you've got to get up and turn it over and so forth. But it's worth, for me, it is worth that that effort. I'm even considering, whilst I can, buying another copy and keeping it sealed for when this wears out, because I just love playing it. It is, to me, it is so, so beautiful to listen to. And that's my number 1.
Yeah. Well, I can't argue with it because it was my number 4. And I think a lot of fans would put, you know, just looking at our Facebook page, our collectors group, a lot of people really rate it and say it's the best sound. For it to come in at my number 4 isn't to give it, for me, I don't think it's giving it a disservice just because of the way I love the original records.
Yeah.
And listening to the album in the way it should be listened to, in 2 different sides.
Yeah.
That's me. I think it's not a bad pick, Steve. Can't argue with that. Right, so are we at my number 1? So I wonder if anyone's guessed what it is. I know you have.
You are going east, young man. Am I right?
And we're SHP 6061. And this is from Japan.
I am not surprised. It's a pressing I don't have. And if I did, maybe it would take that number 1 place as well. But Japanese quality, of course. And I'm interested to hear your viewpoint.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to find my notes. Right, here we go. Right, I was actually thinking about it. Our friend Eddie, he's going to love this. I really didn't expect it to be my number 1 listen. And the first round of listening I did, I put the US on, I put the UK, and then I played the Japan. So very, very quickly was taken with this record. And I think what it was is the drive and the loudness and the reverb are all there. I think I found a slightly better stereo separation on the record. And I think it just had a slight more control over the reverb. And considering my system's set up to be very mid, the more reverb there is, the more you get a bit of a sound around the room. And it meant I could drive it loud. And this was the record that just captured me most. It got me singing, got me foot tapping, got me just full in Elvis mode, you know, as did the UK and the US. But it just about sounded better to my ears and on my system.
Yeah.
But like I say, Eddie's going to be so made up with that.
And I'm really not surprised. I am actually not surprised at all. I did think that I reckon that Japan's going to be way up there on the list because they're just known for doing incredible pressings, aren't they?
Yeah, and you know, it's funny actually. I've only just recently got this from David, and you can't see through that, but it's a near mint vinyl, and it just does sound so good. So this was the first time I'd heard it when I did this comparison test, And I really wasn't expecting it to come out above UK and the US.
Okay.
Just snatches it for me. So, and I would
Well, we
recommend
have it.
everyone go out and buy one of those album versions. Japan, UK, US, 1969. You can't get any better in my eyes.
Yeah. It's an album that I'd be perfectly happy to play in the car with my whole family. There's not a track on there you'd go, not so good. You don't have to justify, do you? Sometimes you have to justify being a bit of an Elvis fan when your kids are all grown up and listening to modern music. That's one album I'd be absolutely unashamed of saying, you got to listen to this. And what a crime Suspicious Minds and Kentucky Rain wasn't on this album.
Yeah.
I know it's probably a different discussion, but RCA were focused more on the singles. And so a lot of those number one singles didn't appear on albums apart from gold record albums. Now, a lot of other artists have absolutely outstanding records, and they're sort of like known, incredibly famous albums, whereas Elvis doesn't have any. And it was the Rolling Stones top 500 albums. Elvis hardly appeared because RCA weren't so interested in albums, because all the great songs that everybody would love were put out on singles. It's the way it is. Nothing we can do about it. But I would personally, they had In the Ghetto on this album, which was a single, number 2 in the UK. Why can't they put Suspicious Minds on?
Yeah.
Never to
I
be.
totally agree. Between Elvis and Memphis and Back in Memphis,
Yeah.
having those singles spread across them.
Mm.
Yeah. But at least with your number one pick with the Mo 545,
Had Suspicious Minds on.
You get Suspicious Minds, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Yeah. And I guess the same with this as well. You get Suspicious Minds, and I think Kentucky Rain's on this as well. So that does make it a really, really special listen, because it is cracking.
Yeah. I'd love to see them do a modern day release of the 69 sessions, really. With all the Baz films and the Epic coming out and everything, and there needs to be something on the shelf, highlighting the best parts of his career, and music. I mean, come on, the 69 stuff, the 68 special, the gospel albums, Elvis is Back, all the 50s albums,
and all the 60s and all the 70s.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I mean, you take all the for LP fans only and golden records away from the 50s albums. The albums were good, from Elvis Presley to Elvis to Loving You, King Creole. They're great albums, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
of course.
But
Of course.
definitely the Memphis would make a really good 3-record release, for the public, with the best of. Don't mess with it. Don't take away anything from the masters.
I wonder how the Bloody Mary is doing as far as success, because back in the day I would always be checking up to see how Elvis would chart, but nowadays I haven't got a Scooby. I have no idea how songs are charted anymore. But I do wonder, would Sony look at this release and say that was successful? Because if it was successful, we might get more.
It's hard to know, isn't it? Because that was almost like a record day that I'd never heard of before. Have you?
No.
You know, I mean, obviously we have record store days and things, but I'd never heard of that. And it was nice to see a release like this. The charts are so complicated now, aren't they?
Yeah, because of streaming, I guess, and downloads. Yeah,
because that's never going to affect the streaming chart, is it?
No.
Because it's already out there.
Yeah.
It will be interesting to know.
If anyone's got any information, give us a little comment below. That'd be great to know.
Yeah, it would. You know, what else would we like to see? Really, I'd love to see someone do Elvis country.
Yeah, and love letters. Both have not been touched by music on vinyl or Friday music. Why? They're cracking albums. I don't understand that.
Yeah, and that's another set that would make another good 3-record release where you got country love letters with the singles put on there.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
We don't want you know, for the public. We don't want outtakes and little bits of jams and stuff. Just give them the very best of Elvis.
Yeah.
You know.
I always wondered with the Elvis country, was it because of the snippets in between each song that they can't replicate, or they haven't got the masters for, so they'd have to do copies of copies maybe. I don't know. I don't understand, but why that album's not been reissued is a mystery. I would love it, in my personal opinion, I would love it to be reissued without the I was born about 10,000 years ago snippets in between. Just to have it as an alternative listen. Probably not a big fan of it. If I had to make a decision, I would rather listen to it without and have the song as a standalone on the album rather than sort of like linking each song.
Yeah, I've always liked it as a concept album. You know, I think it was nice to see that there was a concept album like that, and it was, you know, also based on the country theme, wasn't it? For this, the songs fit. You would expect the master tape would have those splices in there when they made the original records.
Yeah.
If it's been done on the fly, I could digitally knock those segments in pretty quickly. So I'm sure a pro engineer working with the masters would have no problem recreating.
Yeah, true.
Tracks, you know, definitely with technology we have now. It's funny that there is no release with all the masters without that.
No.
At all.
No.
If you want to find all the masters, you've got to go back to the 70s box set and get most of them from there.
As in that one?
The Welcome Out, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's true. But they're not all on here.
No, you've got to search around. That's your because I actually looked at this recently about making my own album, like for my own listening, and I was surprised how difficult it was to piece together the tracks. Now there's plenty of takes out there, but the takes aren't the masters because they haven't got the overdubs.
Yes, that's right.
So to find the actual finished masters is very difficult to get them all.
Yeah. There's quite a few You've got Tomorrow Never Comes, Make the World Go Away, Funny How Time Slips Away, I Wash My Hands, Snowbird, Whole Lot of Shaking Going On, Just Pretend, Faded Love. Most of them are on there. It's Your Baby, Little Cabin on the Hill. Maybe they are. Maybe they are all on here.
I think it's. I don't think they're all. Not, and obviously, Just Pretend was on That's the Way It Is.
Oh yeah, of course it was. Of course it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if I remember when I looked, it wasn't 100%. And yeah, it's surprising how I went back through every re-release to see if anyone had done it, without that splice on the end of each track, and there isn't. I thought the classic album might have given us them. But the FTD doesn't. But, yeah, something big's got to happen with Elvis Country, hasn't it? At some point, it must be the only reason it's not getting released.
Yeah. Anyway,
so hope you found that interesting. Let us know what you think about the different versions that you've got, and whether you agree or completely disagree with what we're saying. We'd enjoy reading any comments and answering them, and start a conversation. But yeah, what we've got coming up next? I know we're trying to get the group together, aren't we, to do some more.
Yeah, it's so hard, isn't it? Separated all across the world, the time zones make it very difficult for all of us to be together.
Yeah, I'm working on a couple of videos for Christmas at the moment. What I've been working on, I need to try and finish tonight, is the Elvis Rewind cassette player, which I was really pleased with the unit, actually. I've been enjoying going into that one. And then I've got a bit of a Christmas special on a lot of rare Elvis Christmas releases, LPs and singles to show. So I'll get that one made as soon as I can.
And you are waiting for a very special delivery, I know, but I'm taking it that's not arrived yet.
No, that one's not. Obviously, I'll do that as soon as I get it. That should be interesting.
It will be. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Yeah.
And that will especially go well with this one.
Oh yes. Yes. Yeah.
That's mint. And I'm also looking forward to David's FTD World books coming out.
Yeah.
So I'll do a quick review video on those, and probably get together with David in the near future and expand on what's in them and the FTD collections. So, anything else from you, Steve, on From Elvis in Memphis?
No, just it's a flipping good record. Go out and buy it if you haven't already. I'm sure you have. But
it's one of the greatest records.
I enjoyed doing it. It was great fun. It's just to sit down and try and get your head to sort of try and work out, was that on that version as well? And you go back and put that on and get, I was going back and forth all the time trying to sort of like make notes of various cymbal hits or drum beats or guitar clicks and stuff. Just seeing, it's so difficult because there's not a lot between them, was there? Really not.
And if you did it all again tomorrow, your number 3 might be number 2, and
yes, that's true as well. Yeah,
that's why we've got to remember there's not a bad record here.
No, that is true. Yeah.
There might be an old bad CD knocking about, but generally the latest CDs are good as well.
Yeah.
So it's pretty hard to lose with this record, isn't it?
Mm.
You
Yeah.
know.
And I have learned that probably I won't give too much airtime anymore unfortunately, to Speaker's Corner, because that's just didn't stack up in compared to like the original or to the MOVs or the MoFis. So unfortunately, that one probably won't get a lot more of a play, but it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean that's the same with collecting, isn't it? There's always things that had the time and they're part of your collection. I mean, if you just look at the original Elvis CD collection, I won't pull any of them out now and play them. They've all been surpassed by newer digital versions.
Yeah.
No, but I'm never going to get rid of it. I mean, I love
Absolutely.
I love having it there, you know.
Yeah.
And I've had loads of years of enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that sometimes things get better.
Yeah.
Sometimes they were better as they were.
As we've heard tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We'll leave you on that one then.
Okay.
Quit while we're ahead.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
See you next time. Bye.
All right.
Yay!
I was surprised when your MoFi came out. I'm like, oh no, it's number 4.
Yeah, but I just couldn't put it above one of the originals.
Mm.
It was just, you know, I think if I could put a whole album on and just listen to it, it might come out an equal with something, but you can't. And I tell you what really did it was one of the tracks, I just found it over loud.
Right. Okay.
And that was it. That was enough just to say.
Can you remember which one it was?
It was more than likely Long Black Limousine.
Okay.
But it could have been Gentle on My Mind. I think in the end it was just, I don't know, those last 3, Japan, US, UK, they really got inside you when you were listening to them.
That really surprised me because, as I said, they were great to listen to, but my UKs just didn't compare. So it must be the difference between 69 and 70.
Yeah,
it must be.
It must.
I have to get all these put away now.
Oh no, they were pretty. I must admit, one of my UK copies was really, really clean, and I did. Apart from the new records, ultrasonically clean them all before I played them to give more. And I was cleaning my needle after every play. And
oh right, okay, yeah.